Welcome to the codeness. In the previous video, we have successfully created the role services. Now in this video, I am going to work in the infrastructure layer. So we have to create our database or role entity. Then first of all, we have to install our required like relational database. So just type it. We have to install the SQL and the TypeORM. We are using the TypeORM for making the insert, update, delete, or or making the relation for the application. So now use installed, copy MSSQL. Now install reflect metadata. Now, so we have installed the dependency. Now I'm going to create the folder called entities. So here first we create a DB, then in the DB folder we have to create a new folder called entities. Now we have to create the file called new role entity dot ts. Now we have to use export class. Based on this class we have to create our table in MS SQL. Now we have to use decorator add entity, give the name, what name you want to create in the database. So I give you the name roles. Now I'm going to use the string, then I'm going to use at the rate column unique. The URL name must be unique, so it will be create the constraint on the database on the table. So unique constraint, it will be automatically created with this unique properties. Now we can use at the rate created date column. In the same way, can use the updated date column and so on. Now we can use import from the type ORM. Loading statement, just wait, maybe, yeah. As you can say, all the error will be gone. So in this way, based on this class, the table will be created on the SQL server. So the table name would be, don't forget to include this entity, otherwise it will be excluded in the type ORM. So you have to mention the table's name, the ID is auto generated, it's a UID, the column name, it must be unique, and the created date and the updated date. Now in the next, we have to create the repositories for this role. To add new folder called repositories. Now we are going to create the new repository called role repository. Tree.ts. Export class role role repository. Now I am implementing all the CUD operation of role. So I role, then we can quick fix implement. Now we can add implement the interface. So as you can see here, all the method we are going to use is already implemented in, because we have already defined in the interface. Now for this we have to connect this with the SQL server. So we have to create our data source. So now I'm going to create the data source file in the DB folder. So now give the file name data source.ts. Now constant app export constant app data source equals to new data source. Now for data source, I'm going to use the MSSQL, the localhost and the post and the user ID and the password, the DB name. Then we have to use some optional property for this options trusted certificate true, comma encryption false. Now we have to use the entities. So whatever the entities we have, like we have the role entity. So whatever table you want to create in MS SQL Server, you have to mention here. Now I'm injecting this into our repository. So go to repository, create the method called private repo repository role entity, then equals to app data source that get repository. Yeah. So in this way, we have created the repository and we have used the app data source it here. Okay, now we can implement the non-implemented method. Let's say for the create, we can use a sync repo. This dot repo. No, we cannot directly save here because it is the role and it is the role entity. So we have to first use it constant entity to this dot create role and then save the entity. So in this way we have to create the create operation. Same way we can use for the update also. In the same way we can use for the get. So find, then we can use entities. Then because it's a multiple, then we can use the return entities. Now we can find by id, so we can say, so we have to implement this by id, so we can use entity, or we can say rail find one, then we can use colon where, then we have to actually forget to pass the id, so we can make the change here, then we can use id, then return the entity, then async, and then await. Then we can correct this method get by id in our repository. So we have to go I repository and then make change here, get role by id, string, sorry, id colon string, then it will be also here id colon string. In the same way we can use for the delete also, then async, then or you can check with the, in this way, entity dot affected row, delete by id, then entity dot affected row greater than 0. Okay, so we can give this way, if undefined then 0, and then we can return this way. Now find my name also, so we can use this function, then async where role name. In this way, we have successfully installed all the dependency, but a service is giving the error because we have, change find by ID method. So we can correct this way, string, and then we can pass it here. So now we have successfully configure or create our repository. Now we have to develop the API for to test this application or to test this role repository. Make sure you have, before going to change, make sure you have successfully add the connection or user ID or password for your user database. Make sure your user ID or password is connected database or it created. Make sure it is a false, because we have to use the migration command here to create the role entity. So thank you for watching this video. In the next video, we are going to create the API layer. Thank you.